Trump Revealed, An American Journey of Ambition, Ego, Money, and Power by Michael Kranish and Marc Fisher. In the heart of a nation on the cusp of transformation, a figure emerged from the opulent towers of Manhattan, casting a long shadow over the American landscape. Donald J. Trump, a name synonymous with wealth, ambition, and controversy, stood poised to undertake a journey unlike any other, a path that would lead him from the gilded boardrooms of his real estate empire to the most powerful office in the world. This is the story of Trump, as told not in his own words, but through the meticulous research of two seasoned journalists, Michael Kranish and Marc Fisher. Their narrative, Trump Revealed, delves deep into the life of the 45th President of the United States, painting a portrait of a man as complex and multifaceted as the nation he would come to lead. The tale begins not in the glitz of a modern metropolis, but in the rugged, windswept Isles of Scotland, where Trump's mother, Anne MacLeod, first drew breath. Born in 1912 in a small village on the Isle of Lewis, Mary's life was one of hardship and resilience. The MacLeod family, like many on the island, eked out a living from the acidic soil, raising animals, fishing, and collecting peat for fuel. It was a life far removed from the opulence that would one day define her son's existence. But the spirit of determination, the will to rise above one's circumstances, was a legacy she would pass on to him. As the Great Depression tightened its grip on the world, Mary, at the age of 18, boarded the SS Transylvania, bound for America. She carried with her the dreams of a new life, a yearning for opportunities that her small island could not offer. Arriving in New York City, she found work as a domestic, a stark contrast to the grandeur of the Trump name that would one day adorn skyscrapers and grace magazine covers. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, in the wine-producing village of Karlstadt, Germany, another narrative was unfolding. Friedrich Trump, Donald's grandfather, was born into a family of modest means. Unlike the robust vintners of his hometown, Friedrich was frail, unfit for the back-breaking labor of the vineyards. At 16, he too sought a new life in America, arriving in New York in 1885. He began as a barber, but the lure of the West, with its tales of gold strikes and boundless opportunity, soon drew him away from the city. Friedrich's journey took him from the bustling streets of Seattle to the mining community of Monte Cristo, and eventually to the Yukon during the Klondike Gold Rush. He did not toil in the mines, but instead built establishments that catered to the needs of those who did. He was a man who understood the value of providing services, a lesson his grandson would take to heart. In 1901, Friedrich returned to Karlstadt, where he met and married Elizabeth Christ, who had grown up across the street from the Trump family house. They returned to New York, but Elizabeth yearned for her homeland. Despite Friedrich's pleas to remain in Germany, they were forced to return to America, where their son, Frederick Christ Trump, Donald's father, was born. Fred Trump, as he came to be known, would become a major figure in Donald's life, a stern, disciplined man who built a real estate empire in the outer boroughs of New York City. He was a man of simple tastes and frugal habits, a builder of modest homes for the middle class. His office, a converted dentist's space near Coney Island, was a far cry from the lavish suites his son would later inhabit. Donald, born in 1946, grew up in a household where wealth was evident but not flaunted. The Trump family home in Jamaica Estates, Queens, was a grand 23-room mansion, complete with a chauffeur, a cook, and an intercom system. Yet Fred instilled in his children the value of hard work, encouraging them to earn money by collecting empty soda bottles and delivering newspapers. Young Donald was a mischievous, energetic child, full of bravado and a penchant for testing boundaries. He attended the private Kew Forest School, where he was known for his antics and his athletic prowess. But his rebellious nature and poor grades led his father to make a drastic decision. Donald would be sent to the New York Military Academy, a strict boarding school 75 miles north of Queens. The academy was a crucible that forged discipline and resilience. Donald learned to navigate a world of rules and hierarchy, where courage and gallantry were prized above all else. He excelled in sports, particularly baseball, and rose through the ranks to become a captain. He learned to manage authority figures, to project strength without undermining them. It was here that Donald first tasted the thrill of seeing his name in print, a headline celebrating his exploits on the baseball field. After graduating in 1964, Donald enrolled at Fordham University, then transferred to the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. He commuted from his family home in Queens, spending weekends working alongside his father. He absorbed Fred's meticulous attention to detail, his obsession with cutting costs, and his drive to succeed. But Donald yearned for more than his father's world of middle-class housing in the outer boroughs. He set his sights on Manhattan, the glittering island of skyscrapers and boundless ambition. In 1971, Donald moved to Manhattan, renting an apartment on East 75th Street. He immersed himself in the city's social scene, frequenting clubs like Le Club, where he met powerful figures like Roy Cohn, the infamous lawyer and fixer. Cohn, with his ruthless tactics and vast network of connections, would become a mentor to Trump, shaping his approach to business and life. As Trump ventured into the world of Manhattan real estate, he faced a city in decline. Crime was rampant, the economy was struggling, and the middle class was fleeing to the suburbs. But Trump saw opportunity in the decay. He set his sights on the Commodore Hotel, a once grand, but now decrepit property adjacent to Grand Central Terminal. It was a risky bet, but Trump, with his father's financial backing, secured an option to buy the hotel. The Commodore project was a turning point for Trump. He partnered with the Hyatt hotel chain, negotiated a controversial tax abatement deal with the city, and transformed the dilapidated property into the luxurious Grand Hyatt. It was a triumph of vision, determination, and deal-making, a testament to Trump's ability to see potential where others saw only ruin. With the success of the Grand Hyatt, Trump's star began to rise. He cultivated his image as a master builder, a deal-maker extraordinaire, a man who could bend the city to his will. He reveled in the attention, the magazine covers, the gossip columns, the whispers of his wealth and power. He understood the value of publicity, the power of a carefully crafted persona. But beneath the bravado, there were signs of trouble. Trump's aggressive business tactics, his willingness to push boundaries and bend rules, drew scrutiny from regulators and the press. He faced allegations of racial discrimination in his housing projects, accusations of inflating his net worth, and questions about his use of political connections to secure favorable deals. As Trump's empire expanded, so did his ambition. He set his sights on new ventures, new markets, new ways to enhance his brand. He ventured into the world of professional sports, buying the New Jersey Generals of the fledgling United States Football League. He dreamed of owning an NFL team, of competing on the biggest stage in American sports. But the USFL was a gamble that did not pay off. The league folded, and Trump's foray into football ended in disappointment. Yet he learned valuable lessons about the power of media, the allure of celebrity, and the importance of capturing the public's imagination. He also learned that he could lose, a reality he rarely acknowledged. In the 1980s, Trump became a symbol of the era's excess and ambition. He built Trump Tower, a gleaming monument to his own ego, a place where the rich and famous could live and shop in opulent splendor. He acquired the Plaza Hotel, another iconic New York property, and poured millions into its renovation. He bought a yacht, an airline, and a sprawling estate in Palm Beach, Florida, called Mar-a-Lago. Trump's personal life was as tumultuous as his business ventures. His marriage to Ivana, a Czech model, was a tabloid sensation, a glamorous union that produced 3 children, but ultimately ended in a messy, highly publicized divorce. He then married Marla Maples, a relationship that also ended in divorce. Throughout it all, Trump maintained his image as a playboy, a man desired by beautiful women, a figure who embodied the fantasy of wealth and power. As the 1990s dawned, Trump's empire faced its greatest test. The real estate market crashed, and he found himself burdened with massive debt. His casinos in Atlantic City struggled, and his airline went bankrupt. He was forced to sell assets, renegotiate loans, and confront the possibility of personal bankruptcy. Yet he survived, emerging from the wreckage with his brand intact, his ambition undiminished. The Apprentice, a reality television show that premiered in 2004, transformed Trump's image once again. He became a household name, a television star known for his tough-talking persona and his signature catchphrase, "You're fired." The show, which showcased Trump's business acumen and his ability to make difficult decisions, resonated with millions of Americans. It was a carefully crafted performance, a blend of reality and fiction that further enhanced the Trump brand. With his renewed fame, Trump ventured into new realms. He licensed his name to a wide array of products, from clothing and fragrances to steaks and bottled water. He created Trump University, a controversial venture that promised to teach students the secrets of real estate success. He even explored a run for president, flirting with the idea in 1988, 2000, and 2012. As the 2016 presidential election approached, Trump saw an opportunity to capitalize on his celebrity, his business success, and the growing anger and frustration of many Americans. He tapped into a deep well of resentment, a sense that the country was in decline, that the American dream was slipping away. He positioned himself as an outsider, a disruptor, a man who could shake up the system and make America great again. His campaign was unlike anything seen before in American politics. He ignored the traditional rules of engagement, attacking his opponents with a ferocity and a disregard for decorum that shocked many but thrilled his supporters. He used social media to bypass the mainstream press, communicating directly with his followers in a way that was both unprecedented and unfiltered. Trump's message resonated with millions of Americans who felt left behind by globalization, ignored by politicians, and betrayed by a system they believed was rigged against them. He promised to build a wall on the Mexican border, to ban Muslims from entering the country, to bring back jobs lost to overseas competition. He spoke in simple, declarative sentences, using language that was often coarse and inflammatory, but always direct and forceful. His rallies were massive, filled with passionate supporters who saw in Trump a champion, a savior, a man who would fight for them. They chanted his name, wore his merchandise, and cheered his every pronouncement. They believed in him, in his ability to deliver on his promises, to make America great again. The Republican establishment was horrified by Trump's rise. They saw him as a demagogue, a charlatan, a threat to the party and the country. They tried to stop him, but their efforts were too little, too late. Trump had tapped into something powerful, a deep-seated anger and frustration that transcended traditional political divisions. As the primaries unfolded, Trump's opponents fell one by one. Jeb Bush, once seen as the frontrunner, was quickly dismissed as low energy. Marco Rubio, the young senator from Florida, was mocked as Little Marco. Ted Cruz, the conservative firebrand, was labeled Lion Ted. Trump's insults were often crude, but they were effective. He dominated the news cycle, set the agenda, and forced his rivals to play on his terms. The general election was a brutal, divisive contest. Trump faced Hillary Clinton, a formidable opponent with a long record of public service, but also a history of controversies and a reputation for being out of touch with ordinary Americans. Trump attacked Clinton relentlessly, calling her Crooked Hillary, accusing her of corruption, and promising to lock her up if he were elected. The campaign was dominated by scandal, controversy, and personal attacks. Trump's past treatment of women, his business dealings, and his inflammatory rhetoric were all scrutinized as never before. Yet he remained defiant, unapologetic, and utterly convinced of his own invincibility. On November 8, 2016, Donald J. Trump was elected the 45th President of the United States. It was a stunning upset, a victory that defied the polls, the pundits, and the expectations of the political establishment. He had won by appealing to a coalition of voters who felt ignored, forgotten, and betrayed. He had promised them change, a restoration of American greatness, and a voice in a system they believed had silenced them. As Trump prepared to take office, the nation was deeply divided. His supporters saw him as a savior, a leader who would finally deliver on the promise of a better future. His detractors saw him as a dangerous demagogue, a threat to democracy, and a symbol of the country's darkest impulses. The story of Donald J. Trump is a uniquely American tale, a saga of ambition, ego, money, and power. It is a story of a man who rose from the outer boroughs of New York City to the pinnacle of wealth and celebrity, a man who defied convention, shattered norms, and ultimately transformed the political landscape. It is a story that is still being written, a narrative that will shape the nation and the world for years to come. Trump Revealed provides a comprehensive look at this journey, offering insights into the forces that shaped Trump, the decisions that defined his career, and the controversies that have surrounded him. It is a story of a man who has always been larger than life, a figure who has captivated and repelled, inspired and infuriated. It is the story of a man who, for better or worse, has left an indelible mark on America. If you enjoyed this book breakdown, please consider liking this video and subscribing to get notified when we post our next book.